Namaste and good morning, everyone. Let's start our Thursday Upanishad class with the prayers. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhuvasvaha Tatsavitra Vareneyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat, Asto Ma Sadgamya, Tamso Ma Jyotirgamya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamya. Om Sehna Bhavtu Sehna Bhunaktu Saviryam Karvavai Tejasvi Navadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahi. Om Shanti 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 Om. So Shvetashvarta Upanishad, that's what we are studying in this class for the last few months, I should say. We are on chapter 5 and verse number 11 now. So this is a description of the individuality, you and me. That's what it's contained like. Who are we? And we should ask these questions to ourselves too. So, but we are trying to understand what this great Rishi, who has realized the self, is telling us. So verse number 11. Sankalpan sparshan drishi mohe ग्रास अंभू दृष्टेहा च आत्म विवृद्धि जन करम अनुगाने अनुक्रमेण देहि स्थानेषु रूपाणि अभिसंप्रपद्यते. संकल्प स्पर्शन दृष्टि मोहे. By wishful thinking, that is sankalpa, sparshan, desire to touch, drishti, see, mohe, delusion. So by wishful thinking and the desire to touch and see and delusion. See, when you look at the individual terms, you are familiar with all of this. So, gras ambhu drishtayaha cha atam vivridhi janam. Just as the body is nourished by the food and water, see, grass is the food, ambu is the water that is showered into it. So, atam vridhi, vivridhi janam. Karam anuganehe, according to its deeds, the actions. Anukramen, in succession. That means one after the other in succession. Dehi, the embodied one. Sathaneshu, in different places. Rupani, different forms. Abhisamprapadyate, assumes. Just as the body is nourished by the food and water that is showered into it, the embodied one is also nourished by the wishful thinking, the desire to touch and see and delusion. And according to its deeds, successively it assumes different forms in different places. Okay, that really shows us that there's a continuation of life. So right now, the kind of a body we have, where we were born, that is all we created it. We got to take responsibility of it. So the individuality is a nourishment. Our body is kept well, we know that. The kind of a food we eat, what we drink. So it's like a solid and liquid intake. Sometimes it could be healthy and sometimes it could be unhealthy. And body becomes according to what we nourish the body with. Same way, the individuality being, that means the jiva, strengthened by sankalps, that's a fanciful thinking. And these sankalps could be righteous or unrighteous. It's almost like a let me help someone. Or how good it be if the others help me. Those are all sankalps. We all know animals and birds, they live a simple and natural life guided by their instincts. But human beings, we all imagine and we attribute attractive qualities to the objects of our choices. Then that's why we are constantly prompting ourselves to touch something, to smell something, to taste, to have, to go. So these are like a sensuous experiences we want, and we want them to be repeated again and again. And that's how we get attached. See, this sparshanam, the touch, and drishti, the sight, are specially mentioned because they are very powerful causes for attachment. Touch and to see. Haven't we heard that many fall in love at first sight? That's seeing something. And a miser counts his money again and again, never wanting to part with it, want to touch it. The scriptures say that if one is intensely attached to someone or something, then in the next life, that person will become that. Attachments. And this attachment happens through the senses. We know the story of Bharat. He was a king. It's not the same Bharat who is a brother of Ram. No, it's a different Bharat. Way before that, he was a king. He got attached, went into the jungles, became a rishi. Great kingdom he let go, went into the jungles to do the tapasya. Over there, he got attached to a baby deer because the mother died, and he saved that baby deer, brought that deer in the ashram, put all his attention and time into the deer. Time came when he died. Next life he became a deer. That is the effect of the attachments. Attachment. The individuality is indeed strengthened by every desire and sensory experience. Remember that. And individuals, or these individual beings, the journey is endless. Endless. So nourished by our imaginations, our own desires, enjoyment and attachments, we take different forms in different worlds in accordance with our own actions. Okay? So that means we decide our future incarnations. We are the one who decided this one too. So life after life, the story of the individual continues. Continues. And the factors that decide the types of form that the individual gets are enumerated in the next verse by this great rishi. Sathulani sukshmani bahuni cha ev rupani dehi swagunai vrinoti kriya gunai atam gunai cha tesham sanyog hetu apara api drishtaha. This is verse number 12. Sathulani, gross, sathul. Sukshmani, subtle. Bahuni, many. Cha means and, ev means also. Rupani, forms of bodies. So like a forms. Dehi, the embodied being. Swa gunai, by its own tendencies. Vrinoti, adopts or assumes. Kriya gunai, by quality of actions. Atma gunai, by the quality of the mind. Over here, Atma means the mind, not the Atma. the soul, because soul doesn't have the qualities, only the Prakriti does. So by the quality of the mind. Cha means and, tesham there, sanyog hetu, cause of the union. See, hetu means the cause. Apara, another. Api means also. Drishtaha, seen. The embodied being assumes many bodies, gross and subtle, chosen by its own tendencies, actions, and quality of mind. Another cause for this union with various bodies is also seen. So that means we are attached to the other bodies also. So the individual's choice, dehi vrinoti, it is us alone who have chosen to be born in this body, the body we are in. And we are also choosing the future bodies also, and even the past bodies, we are the one who chose. Some are born in grosser bodies, like animals, humans, and some are born with the subtle bodies. What are subtle bodies? The deities or other celestial beings, the angels, the devatas. They have the subtle bodies. They are here, but we cannot see them because their bodies are subtle. We need the subtle eyes to see them. We choose the form we get according to our vasanas. These inherent tendencies, the vasanas, they could be good or bad, formed in previous births. So they in turn were formed by the combination of the quality of actions, the kriya gun, which he mentioned here, and the quality of the mind, the thoughts. So that's why if we want to have a better body, better place to go to, we got to do better actions, and we got to have positive thoughts also, good thoughts. Then he says God's grace. The other cause which connects the individual with the body is God. God presides over all actions. And God is the one who gives the results. It's not like he's sitting over there and checking each and every action of ours. He is a karam adhyaksha. He is a karam phal data. Because he has made this rule, this law actually, which is the same for everybody. The law of action. See, just like a law of gravity. This is a law. Ordered by God, a person gets the result of his actions, as actions by themselves are inert. For one who has strong swimming vasana, the body of a water creature would seem more appropriate. And again, depending upon the actions also. So it is he who knows which body is appropriate to fulfill the vasanas of that individual. Okay, so we got to be very careful about it. If we want to go to a better place, if we want to evolve, our actions as well as our thoughts, they both got to be good. Okay. Does the individual's story ever end? Because he said countless births, countless different forms. Does it ever end? Or are we going to just keep on going through it? Let's look at verse number 13. Anadi anantam kalilasya madhye vishwasya strataram anek rupam vishwasya ekam pariveshtitaram gyatva devam muchyate sarvapashay. Anadi anantam, without beginning and end. Kalilasya, of chaos. Madhye, in the middle. Vishwasya, of the universe. Srastaram, the creator. Anek Rupam, in many forms. Vishwasya, of the universe. Ekam one, Pariveshtitaram, encompassing or pervading. Pariveshti. Gyatva, knowing. Devam, the Lord. Muchyate, released. Sarvapashay, from all bondage. Knowing the Lord in the middle of the chaos of the sansar. The one without beginning and end. The creator of the universe in many forms. The one pervading the entire universe. One is released from all bondage. So if you want to end this coming and going, if you want to fulfill this ultimate goal, he is telling us, you got to know the Lord. Knowing the Lord in the middle of the chaos. So in this sansar, in the middle of the sansar, everywhere God is. See, our attention is all the time into the creation. Hardly we just pay attention to the Creator. The minute we get to know the Creator, our vasanas will end. Okay, so and this knowing is not, again, theoretical knowing. This knowing is subjectively knowing. Subjectively. So if we really want to end this coming and going, then this is what we need to do. That's all. So the compassionate Lord who unites the individual to the results of his actions is also the cause for this liberation also. This is called liberation. It is he who unites the individual with our Guru also. Because ultimately Guru is the one who teaches this. Through Guru, God gives us the knowledge. Through Guru, we get the inspiration to start this inward journey. Because from the outer teachers of the secular subjects, we learn how to move outwardly. Guru is the one which shows us the path which is inward path. Inward path. Which is the path which will take us towards God, and this coming and going will end. That is secular. So secular versus sacred. Worldly versus spiritual. So journey does end. Just as in the outside world, the individual initially finds only chaos and confusion. The inward journey seems more difficult actually. But Guru teaches us how we can end this confusion. See, just like a outer journey, a person who has done the outer journey can show us the path. The path in the inner journey only a Guru can show us. Because he has walked this path, inward path. With persistence, with sincerity, when he wades through his inner turmoil, he reaches the shore, which is beginningless and endless, which is effulgent and all engulfing. Okay. See, outside creation, still we know it's big, but still there's an end to it. But inside, the God, the divine, it's endless, it's beginningless. So then this seeker meets the Lord, the creator of all, whom he then recognizes in all forms. Because when we know God, he says he's everywhere, he's in the middle of the chaos. That means he is in all the forms. And most importantly, in our own form also. There's no form without him, and no place without him. That is the knowledge. Realizing that he is birthless and deathless, he is liberated from the cycle of birth and death, and he reaches the end of this journey. End of this journey. And what happens to the body when the individual realizes this truth? Because this is the truth, the absolute. Does he give up the body? The mantra says in the verse number 14, this is the last mantra of this chapter. Bhav grahyam anidakyam bhavaha bhavkaram shivam kala sargkaram devam ye vidu te jahu tanum. Bhav grahyam, realized through bhav, devotion. Anidakyam, who is devoid of body. Anidakayam, who is like a bodiless. Bhavaha bhavkaram, who creates and destroys. Shivam, pure. Kala sargkaram, projector of the 16 parts. In other Upanishads, we learned 16 kalas. So kala sargkaram, projector of the 16 parts. Devam, God. Ye means who, vidu, no. Te means they. Jahu, give up. Tanum, the body. Those who know this God, who can be realized only through devotion, through bhav. Even Lord Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, through devotion, through bhakti. Who is devoid of a body, who creates and destroys this world, who is pure, who projects the kalas, the 16 parts, they give up the body. So the nature of the truth to be realized is described in this verse. So first let's look at bhav grahyam. Bhav actually also means feelings, but over here it means devotion. See, Sanskrit words have many, many meanings. So you got to see in which context that word has been put in there. So over here, the devotion. The truth is known by a heart filled with love for God. That's devotion. When our heart has nothing else but love for God only, or the guru or the scriptures, it's the same thing. There's no difference between a guru and a God, or even these primary scriptures. So single pointed devotion and faith is the key to God realization. This is what I have to say. Single pointed. Shankaracharya ji said in one of his writings that God is realized by a pure-hearted person. Pure-hearted. So supreme devotion or God realization arises from intense bhavana. Nothing else I need, nothing else I want. I want only God. That's it. Burning desire. That kind of a love. And then he says, anidakayam. See, need means a nest. That's a common Hindi word, need. So anida means one who's homeless. No nest. Over here, it really means God is bodiless. Okay, so this nest is the body. See, right now, this is our nest. Our body is our nest. Soul, which we are, resides in this body. So he does not have a particular physical or subtle body. Sure, from time to time, he incarnates in a special body for some time. But in his absolute nature, he is formless. That's what it really means. So that's anida. Bhav, abhavkaram, creator and destroyer. Bhav, abhav. Here, bhav means creation. See, previously, bhav means devotion Over here, bhav means creation, and abhav means absence of creation or dissolution. We all know that God is creator, He is sustainer and destroyer of this world, and always remain as a pure consciousness, which is Shivam. So that Shiva word over here is pure, auspicious. It's not a form of Lord Shiva. This is Shivam over here means auspicious. Projector of kalas, 16 parts. So kala means the phases or aspects. We have studied Prashna Upanishad, where we saw the enumeration of 16 kalas or aspects of God. If you want to go back and check it out, you will see chapter 6, verse number 4. And what are these 16 kalas? 5 elements. Okay, Prithvi, Jal, Agni, Vayu, Akash. 5 elements. Then he says faith, pran, senses, mind, strength, karma, food, tap, mantra, realms of experience, and name. We studied all this in that beautiful Upanishad. So these are called 16 Sola Kala of Bhagwan. So these aspects itself hide the true nature of God. So they are called Kala, because they really divert our attention away from God. See, just like we see beautiful tree, beautiful sun, or the moon, God is there, but we just get engrossed only in the form, the beauty, the outer beauty. So that's why I said that these kalas, they divert our attention away from God. We just stay engaged in these attributes or in these modifications. That's why I always tell you, sure, God's creation is beautiful. It's His creation. But if creation is beautiful, can you imagine how more beautiful is the Creator? Do not lose yourself in the creation. Try to get to know the Creator. Have the love for the Creator. 100% love for the Creator. And try to merge with the Creator. Realized one gives up his body. Ye vidu tejahusnam. God is bodiless. Realizing oneness with God, the seeker also becomes bodiless. That's what we do in our meditation. Even if we try to experience that bodilessness for a fraction of a second, you will see the peace. In our half-an-hour meditation, 15-minute meditation, initially, it cannot happen. That's why we need to keep on practicing. But once you have a taste of that, you will see that there's nothing else that beautiful. We want to become bodiless. And bodies, all the bodies, not just only the physical body. Detachment from the physical body, detachment from the subtle body, and detachment from the causal body also. Because soul doesn't have the body. God doesn't have the body. Remember, devoid of the body is anidakyam. So over here, it's not that we got to extinguish this body. It really means give up the identification with the body. The ignorant individual gives up identification with the gross body when he dies. Because that we have to do. It has been snatched away from us. Many times it has been snatched away before. But we carried our subtle and causal bodies with us. How, prompted by our desires and vasanas, we are born again and again and again. At the end of our lifespan, when the realized person departs free from the gross body, the subtle body will merge with the subtle elements. And then this individuality will merge in the infinite truth. And practice of this, we need to do it every day. Whether during shavasana, whether during prayers, or whether doing meditation, or even when we do seva, we can do that time too. Never think that this body is doing the seva. Don't even have that idea. Just keep on doing the seva. You are not the body. Let the body stay busy. You are not your vocal cords. Use them to serve. And don't even think that you are serving. Let go of the attachment or identification with this body. Tasye pranaha utkramante. He is liberated from the cycles of birth and death. This is what he is telling us. So what we learned today is, we've been going through this cycle again and again and again. The kind of a body, the form we have gotten, that was our choice. Sometimes consciously, sometimes unconsciously also we got attached and we got that kind of a form. Now we have this knowledge. So we got to pay attention, work on it, that I want to detach from all these forms. Want to love and love only that absolute God. And this can be done only when you are in a human form. In an animal form, we couldn't do it. Going back to the story of that King Bharat. So as a human being, he did the tapasya, but then he got attached. Then he got the form of a deer because he was attached to a deer. But because of his karmas were pious and pure, the deer was born close to an ashram. Then he lived as a deer's life. Then when he let go of the deer, he came back as a human being. Then he did further tapasya. So tapasya can be done only in a human form. And right now we do have a beautiful human form. Right now we have an intellect which can really go through all this. We got to make sure we use our body properly, use our intellect properly, our mind properly, so that we can get to know who we are in reality. And that can happen, he said, through the love of God. Because grace is always there. We'll feel the grace when we love God. So now we're going to start the chapter 6. So we saw in the last chapter the true nature of God and the individual. And we learned various means of realization. And we saw in the beginning of this Upanishad the discussion among the seekers of knowledge about the nature of the truth, the cause of the universe, etc. In the first few chapters, that's what we learned. So now, after due reflection and meditation, these students are clear, because this is a group of students, seekers. So they went to the Rishi. That's how this Upanishad is designed. So they are clear and sure in their understanding of the truth. So they assert now. What are they saying in verse number 1 of this chapter? So chapter 6, verse number 1. So bhavam eke kavyaha vadanti kalam tatha anye parimuhyamanaha devasya eshaha mahimatu loke yen idam brahmyate brahmachakram. So bhavam, inherent nature. So bhav. Eke, some kavya, learned people, kavis, vadanti say, kalam time, tatha similarly, anye others, parimuhyamana, being under delusion. Okay, parimuhyamana. They will say of God, Esha, this world, Mahima, glory, tu means verily, loke, in the world, yen by whom, idam this, Brahmyate rotates, Brahmchakram, the wheel of the world. That means the sansara. In their delusion, some learned people say that it is inherent nature, and others say it is time. The world verily is the glory of God. By him does the wheel of this world rotates. So it's like a conclusive discussion among those students now. So it's like a discussion with the co-seekers is a good way to arrive at the nature of the truth. So discussion, this kind of discussions are always encouraged in our Vedic scriptures. So it's like a reflection in groups, and reflection alone serve the purpose of clarity in thinking and the right understanding. As long as we stay away from the argumentation, when we know why we are discussing, then we can reach the goal. So in the beginning of the Upanishad, if you go back, chapter 1, verse number 2, many factors were mentioned for this creation. Time, inherent nature, chance, fate. So they said, they considered that that could be the cause of creation. And then one by one, all these factors were rejected when they discussed about it. And they realized they are definitely a part of creation, all of them, but they cannot be the cause of creation, because the cause must always precedes the effect. So that's why now they are concluding that God alone is the ultimate cause of creation. And that creation is the manifestation of his glory alone. The wheel of creation described in detail earlier. We should always go back and refer. This is verse number 4 in chapter number 1, where it's mentioned that this wheel, sure there's a wheel, but now we understand that this wheel is moved only because of God. There's no other second power to God. There's nobody equal. How can there be a better? It's one God. Having concluded that God is the cause of the world, the wise seekers now contemplate on how he creates in the next verse. Yen avritam nityam idam hi sarvam gya kalkaraha guni sarva vidya ten ishitam karam vivartate ha prithvi apaha teja anil khani chintye. Yen means by whom, avritam pervaded, nityam ever, idam this, he means indeed, sarvam all, gya means knower, kalkaraha, the creator of time, kalkar, guni, possessed of qualities, sarva vidya, he who is omniscient. Then by him, ishitam, willed, karam, the entire activity of creation, karam. Vivartate appears. Ha means well known. Prithvi, earth, up, water, tej, fire, anil, air, khani, space, chintayam has to be contemplated upon. Chintan. He by whom indeed all this is ever pervaded, who is the knower, the creator of time, who possesses qualities and is omniscient, willed by him. The entire well-known activity of creation, that is earth, water, fire, air, and space, appears. This has to be contemplated upon. Okay? This is what he's telling them. So we'll stop it here. We'll discuss this in detail next week. But I want you to contemplate on this too. What we just discussed today. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Visheshyate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Thank you very much.